Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, ClaudiaHendersonCreations, and thank you so much for all the feedback I got from last week. So today, as you can see, we're planning on another layout, and this is how my desk looks like sometimes when I get started. A little bit overwhelming for some people, and I know many of you said they have a hard time figuring out the pictures and then how to get started. So I thought today we're gonna go a little bit more in detail about how to prepare your photos. And then I also have some sketches here we can go through and also some design paper that we will incorporate at one point in time. So let's look at our pictures. So I have a whole bunch of pictures here from the Dunes National Park still. And they are pre-printed a couple years ago, so they're all 4x6s, and it's a whole stack. And to make it a little bit easier for putting them on a page or designing a layout with them, I went like with two categories. So just determining how the day went that day, and I have a stash of pictures that show the bad weather coming in, and then these ones here are all pictures during the day pretty much, where the weather was kind of like sunny in some cases, a little bit overcast, and it was us walking up towards the dunes. So I figured I gonna group those together and try to get them on one layout. And then I have a second, either double page layout or maybe it's gonna be just one layout depending on with the bad weather pictures. So I would say I'm gonna concentrate on this one here first because that's a lot of pictures, as you can see. I think it's around 19 or so, and you will be amazed how many we will get on a two-page layout. So these are the ones we're gonna work with, and these ones are the bad weather ones. And like I said, they're all pretty similar. It's just the clouds are amazing and when the rain came in. So I will see what I do with those. But for now, we're gonna put those aside and concentrate on the somewhat nicer pictures for that day. So how do we get started? Okay, so now we're just gonna start sorting again, and I just make a pile of us taking shoes off, walking through the water, my parents on the sidelines freezing, us walking towards the dunes, and then we have the dunes themselves, a few pictures, us coming back. So I just try to get a little timeline here going. And my poor parents, they were standing on the sideline there all shivering and bundled up while we were walking through the water, and the water was not bathtub water, I can tell you that. It was pretty cold and going towards the dunes. So now let's look at the individual pictures. So this one, for example, they are all kind of similar, but not everything is a good picture to crop. So in this case, I'm gonna go with 3x4s because we get a lot of 3x4 pictures on a layout. And this is me right there in the water, so this can be cropped easily. This one has both of us on there, but in the water really nicely, but it's kind of hard to crop because we're on the outsides, on the outskirts of the picture then when we crop it, so that doesn't work well. And here's my husband, so I can cut this one down as well with no problem. And then we have two pictures of us getting ready. And while this one here is super easy to crop, we are both close together. That should be working fine. But this one here is a little bit off because we're really far apart and then you don't really see much of the background there. So, yeah, we will see. This is a maybe. So one out and two for sure and one maybe. So let's go with the next one. So here we go again. This is a similar picture, but this one again, we're both on the edge of the cropping area and that doesn't make for a nice picture. So this one is a no-go. While the other one here is a little bit better, we are closer together, so we can crop this one down and make this one of the pictures that goes on the layout. I do like this one here, which has a little bit of those leaves and branches in the foreground. We're a little bit blurry in the background, but it's still a very nice picture. So I'm sure I will use that one. And then we have a couple more where we're heading back. And so this one is easy. We can push it either way. This one as well, we can do it two ways, horizontal or vertical, depending on, I think horizontal might be better, but then, yeah, I don't know. I like to have some sky in there and a little bit of the water, so these two might be a maybe. We figure out which one we like. And then this one has a total different color scheme because the sun was out really nicely that moment, and that one as well can be cut down. So this is a keeper as well. So we got 5 so far and 2 maybes. And then let's look at the last stack. So again, lots of dune pictures. This is just sand, so we don't really need that one. And then these 3 are pretty similar, but they all are okay for cropping. And instead of doing a 3x4, I figured we can start with a 3x5. So they're a little bit longer, gives us a little bit more variety when we're designing a page. And I can always cut them down if I really need to. But I'm just looking and make sure that I get some of the sky on there, some of the dunes, and if water's in the foreground, maybe that too, just so you have a nice composition. So this one as well will be 3x5. And then the only one that's actually a vertical picture is this one here. So out of all of those, and these days I actually kind of make sure when I take pictures I do a horizontal and a vertical version, so I can pick and choose later which one I want. So this is a maybe. Okay, then here are our maybes, and then on the bottom and then on the top here we have our for sure pictures. And then we have my mom and dad here too, so they will be incorporated somehow in the layout as well. So there's one. And then we have the 2 here. We have 3 and the nicer, and then 3 of the dunes. So there's a total of 9 pictures actually. And then 3 maybes. So that's a lot of pictures. Okay, so now that we have all our pictures kind of sorted and determined what we want to do, let me take those together and cut them down. So most of them will be 3x4s, but also a couple 3x5s, and then we can always cut them even further down if needed, and see how far we can get with all of them. And just remember, when you're taking pictures, make sure to take them in both directions, so you actually have some in vertical direction as well as horizontal, and that way you can later pick and choose which ones you want. And if you're like me, printing your photos at home now, this is such an easy way now when you have both versions. Okay, now let's talk about sketches. So I always say it's a good way to start with a sketch on hand. And do I always follow those sketches to the teeth? Oh no. But it is a good jumping off point, and I really, really like this book, for example, here. This is a 12x12 sketchbook from the creative design team. And there are many more out here. So this is, for example, a close to my heart one. Make it from the heart. You might have that one at home. It also contains a lot of sketches, single page layouts, double page layouts, all with measurements and everything that you can start to get going if you are new to scrapbooking or you have a hard time figuring out how to get started. Otherwise, you can find a lot of sketches online on Pinterest, on Facebook. Actually, there is a group you can join on Facebook. It's called 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. I know it's a mouthful, and I will link it down below. But they have a lot of sketches in there, so you might enjoy those. Okay, but in this case, I found this sketch here at Creative Design Sketchbook 12x12 Volume 2. And it has like multiple photos on there, as you can see. So we got like 6 on the one side, 2 on the other, but I can always adjust those 2 on the one side and add more photos to it. But overall, I really like this layout, and it works with 3x4s and 3x3, so quite a few different ones. And then I found this one here, which actually I think will work even better because it has a simple line on the bottom or strip of paper, one on the side, and then it has a whole bunch of pictures just going across. And while they're using 6x4s and other sizes, I think with my 3x4 sizes that I have most of my pictures cut, I can get a lot of those pictures on there. I will have to adjust them a little bit because naturally I have more than they show here. And I might also have to add another row of pictures because I have so many. So I will play around with this layout a little bit and see if I maybe have to alternate my photos a little bit. But I think overall this will fit very well. So let's see. And with the magic of video editing, all our pictures are cut down and put down in place. And let's see how many we end up putting on here. So there's 6 here. There is one that is split over 2 sides, and then there's another 6 on this side. So we have a total of 13 pictures on this double page layout. And if you recall, all my pictures started out by to be 4x6s, and I cut them down to mostly 3x4s because that just worked so perfectly with the sketch that I found. And I have a couple that are a little bit off size. So this one is a 3x5. And then I have those two in the middle here. They are 5 or 3.5x5. So they're a little bit off, but that just breaks up the design a little bit. And then everything else is pretty much 3x4 or 4x3. And if you recall, here is the sketch again. So we have a little strip of paper on the bottom. We have one maybe on the side. And then we have the photos all going in one row. But since I had so many, I actually added a third one on the one side. And then on the other side, on the left side, I actually ended up with a couple of different varieties. And one of them that I really, really liked was to take all these photos and put them down in a row. So they're all 3x4s, and they might have to be cut down a little bit to fit better. And then I would just move this one down and break the whole page up a little bit. So this is the design I really liked. And now we just have to figure out what kind of background paper we want for this layout. So I pulled out a whole bunch of different papers. And this is paper collections from Stampin' Up. So the one is called Country Lace. And it has blues and grays and peaches in there, color-wise. And then I just gonna start and pick out a couple of photos that have different light scenarios on them, just to show you a little bit better what a paper can do to your picture. Because sometimes it's amazing when you just put them on a piece of colored cardstock or design paper, how it can emphasize your photos in a good way or in a bad way. So here we have it on some blue, textured blue cardstock, which looks, or design paper, and it looks fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's kind of like blending in. It's not really giving you some interest to them. So it's a good color, but doesn't really scream I'm special or something. So then we have a gray. Gray works well. It's a neutral color, but again, it's kind of like dulling down your colors, and especially those droopy looking photos. It makes it even worse. So let's try something else. There's like a beige that always works. Again, it's a neutral color, so but nothing special. You know, when you put your photos down, you always should see which one gives your photo a little boost or looks better. So the yellow is a little bit, it's like a yellowish green tone. It's a little bit better, it's a little bit friendlier, but still not really quite what we're looking for. So then I found this peach, and actually that peach kind of is interesting because it warms the pictures up and makes it look way nicer. I also have the wood grain, so this is again from the Stampin' Up! Wood grain papers. They were great and they always work. And then I found these ones here in my stash. These are from Close to My Heart. And after the peach was really nice, I figured why not go a little bit more deeper into the red tones, and I found this one. This one has fine little polka dots in the background, and I like it. So I figured I'm gonna go with it and see what we can do. So I cut down my paper, and it's like 10.5 by 11, and we're gonna put this underneath our photos here. And I just think we don't have to do anything with this. I mean, they look pretty as they are, so I don't have to really photo mat them or anything. And here's a piece. I think it's 6.5 by 10.5. And again, it will be just a continuous strip of paper, or at least that's what it looks like on the layout. So we're gonna put our photos back there, and then maybe use a strip of paper for the side where we have that whole row of pictures down there. So I think that will look nice. And again, those pictures might have to be trimmed just a snitch smaller so they fit better on here. But for now, we're just playing around and trying things. But overall, I think that kind of papaya type of red is really a nice warm red that works well with these pictures. And then I had the zip strip. So zip strip is the branding strip from the Close to My Heart paper, which has a design on one side and then the paper information on the other. That came with this red paper here. I thought that kind of like just gives it a nice bottom and something to sit on. And then I was looking at my background. So the background right now is white, and this is a little yellowish tinted design paper, again from the same paper pack, and it has a little bit texture to it, so it looks kind of like sand. And I thought, well, you know, this actually I think will warm up the page a little bit more. It's better than the white, and it really makes a nice combination. So I like it. I don't know if you can see the detail in the design there, but it's really pretty paper. Okay, so now that we have everything situated, let me break this down, adhere the papers and the pictures, and I will be right back with more. So here we are with the embellishment part. So as you can see, I have like my usually 3 clusters, and I also edged the paper a little bit with the Desert Rose ink, which is the color of the paper you can see here, just to give it a little bit extra lift. And then, yeah, they're my embellishment clusters. So I cut out a whole bunch of different shapes in different colors and different decorations, just to play around with them a little bit. And I can tell you, if you do too many, well, that's not good either. You have too many choices, but you just have to play with it. So what I did first was I started with the red hexagon, and I added, which is actually a coral, but I thought it also looks more like a bush with no leaves. So you know, you just have to be flexible. The brown one is a stemmed coral, but that also to me looked more like just stems from a bush or something. And then I added a couple of the green tags that I cut in the back, because tags always work. So you can always put a tag on something. And it looked nice. You know, it was fun, but not quite what I was expecting or thinking about. Then I tried the brown circle that I cut. And naturally, with the brown circle, I can't use the brown coral, so I had to change it to the red one that I cut and stemmed, and that looked a lot better with the little greens. So let me just put those in here loose so you get the idea, and just put it together. And here's another tag, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of cute, so that will work. But somehow it wasn't quite what I had in mind. And then my husband came home, and I showed him, and he always has a good eye too, and he goes like, why don't you use some blue, because there's a lot of blue in your pictures. And I'm like, blue, well, blue wasn't really on my radar, but why not? So I cut a whole bunch of these little tags that have like a V cut on the bottom, and they're in Carolina color from Close to My Heart, and they're two tones, so you have a darker and a lighter one. And I popped those in behind my circle cluster, and I really liked it. I'm like, you know, it actually gives it a nice pop of color. And if you're having a hard time with your cluster building, just use the same elements at the beginning, you know, just decorate them a little bit different, move things around, but other than that, use the same elements to make it easy and try to stay within the three different groups somewhere on your page. That's what I did on mine here, and I think it works fine. So here is the final result. And as you can see, I flipped my tabs on the lower left and then on the right side around, and I added a little bit of glitter paper so it looks like ribbon that's coming out. And I also added a couple of word strips from a stamp set that I had in stash. So overall, we started out with a lot of 4x6 photos. We cut them down to mostly 3x4s, and we adhered 13 of them on these two double page layouts here. And I think it turned out pretty good. So overall, I'm satisfied with the outcome here. I did use the Stampin' Up! Beauty of the Deep stamp and die set. And I also used the Spotlight of Nature die set, which has all these different circles in there, different sizes with different designs. And I used the one with the little stripes around the circle. And from the Beauty of the Deep, I used a coral and then the two little green corals. And then we had this one brown or red one that actually is stamped on too. So these are from the Beauty of the Deep set. And I think they make for excellent embellishments, not only for the sea. And then I use that little sand stamp to just go around my clusters a little bit, and actually I stamped over the letters as well. So overall, everything is adhered. I did added a few of those little phrase lines on here too, which are from previous Close to My Heart stamp set. One is called The Change of Scenery, and it's actually one stamp that I just stamped and cut apart. And then the other one is from Remember This Moment, and it's just those little phrases instead of stickers that just I think finishing off your clusters very well. The bottom one will be moved. You will see in the still shot that I actually moved this up a little bit. It was too low to the bottom, didn't look good. And then the letters from the Let's Go, those were like chipboard letters that, like I said, stamped with a little sand stamp. And then I used some brown ink to go around the edges a little bit, and a white gel pen just to enhance the letters to make them pop a little bit more. And I really love how they turn out. They are also raised, so I put some foam adhesive or dimensionals under those and raised them up from the page a little bit. And overall, I'm pretty happy how this layout turned out. I hope I could inspire you to get out your pictures and start scrapbooking again, or beginning to scrapbook. I know it's a little bit intimidating sometimes when you have a lot of pictures in front of you, but like I said, if you start to narrow them down, put them into piles, go through them again and see which one can you really crop, which one should be left alone, which one maybe didn't turn out as good, and just go from there. I know it's a process and it will get easier over time. Other than that, I hope and you enjoyed this new video, and if you did so, I would appreciate if you give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. That way YouTube will notify you if I have a new video out, and it will also help me with my channel. Other than that, I will see you back here next week with another layout tutorial. And up until then, happy crafting, and thanks for watching, and see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye. One thing I forgot, my journaling will go underneath the title, so there's plenty of room for a couple of strips to put down there and put my little journaling spots in there.